everybody, and welcome. Welcome back. To all my friends out there, I wish you a Shavua Tov and a good week. We are about to start now. As I promised you, today we are going to head into our garden in our front yard. Last time we looked at our fruit trees. We had 2 fruit trees in the front, and we have a bunch more vegetables that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you our garden today. We actually made a raised garden bed from pallets. So my kids helped me out. We took out all the screws, all the nails that are in the pallets, and we took the boards and we recycled them into a raised garden bed. And in that raised garden bed right now, we're growing some vegetables. Some of the vegetables are ready to be picked, and some of them are just beginning to sprout and beginning to bud and beginning to have some vegetables. So let's get started. This is so exciting. I hope you all are excited to join, and I'm excited to teach you all today. Okay, so right here, I will tilt this down. Right here behind me, we've got 2 raised garden beds and one in the back that you can see. That one's pretty much we just put our mulch in there, but it is actually growing some things right now. So this here in the front, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And if you know what the items are that are in the raised garden bed that I'm going to be pointing out, type them in the chat and we'll give you a shout out. So let's get in and let's see what's going on. Sort of like oval shape, but not really. They're a little bit pointier. If you look here, check out what we got. Right here, we got an actual something growing. If you know what this thing is, let me know. Type, you could smell it. You would already know what it is. It's amazing that the plants you are able to tell what plant it is just by the leaves. Just by looking at the leaves. Every single plant, every single tree, every single fruit tree has different leaves. It's amazing. You don't even have to see the fruits or the vegetables or the products that come out of that tree to know what the tree is and what the tree is going to produce. So we have a few trees, a few plants right here that have similar leaves, okay? So I'm going to show them to you. And if you know what they are, type them in, okay? So we've got one right here, another one with bigger leaves right here, and then we have some even bigger leaves right here, okay? So that's a full-grown leaf right there, and each one of these has some vegetables growing already, okay? Now, until now, we were picking the vegetables off, and the reason why we were doing that was so that the plant can get even stronger as it goes and it starts to build its root system down, deep down underneath. The more you pick off the flowers that are starting to bloom, when it's getting ready to push out those vegetables, the more the plant has energy to grow bigger, grow larger, and to make more space for more vegetables. So even though it looks in the beginning like what's happening is I'm destroying it and taking off those little flowers that are growing, and sometimes we feel the same way when Hashem and God sends us challenges and we're like, why is this happening to us? It's so hard. What's happening? Well, God is preparing us for the ultimate where we can grow bigger and stronger and then produce more from ourselves because we had those challenges. So if you know what these things are called, what these plants are called, I'll give you a hint. All of these are peppers. All right, so all of these right here are peppers. There are different types of peppers. These ones right here in the front are actually, that is correct, all these are hot peppers. These here in the front are hot peppers. We have a few different types of hot peppers. We've got poblano, jalapeno, and a shishito pepper. All these peppers have spice to them, have heat, and they grow really well here in Texas. Now, something about this that I want to say before we even continue looking at the rest of the garden. If you think how amazing it is that Hashem gave all of these things to us, all different types of peppers. Now, there's something amazing about the peppers that I've started to notice. Now that I've started to eat hot peppers, I started to notice something. Now, the larger the pepper, the sweeter it's going to be. The smaller the pepper, the spicier and the hotter it's going to be. So if you think about a bell pepper, which we actually have some bell peppers growing right here. If you think about a bell pepper, well, those are big. Those are sweet. Well, who doesn't like a red pepper or a yellow pepper, an orange pepper, or even a green pepper? They're delicious. But as the peppers start to get smaller, we've got a poblano pepper, which can grow about this big. Those are pretty good. They're not that spicy, but they have a kick to them. Now, if we shrink that pepper a little bit, the next size, we'll get something like a jalapeno pepper, and they're about that size, but even more spicy. And then they start to get smaller. And we have a cayenne pepper, which is thin, because Hashem doesn't want us to waste. God doesn't want us to waste the food. So if we're going to eat less of it because it's super spicy, so you know what? God made it in a perfect way. In the perfect way of making it, God has made it that the spicier the pepper, the smaller the pepper is going to be. I don't know if many of you have seen a ghost pepper or a Carolina Reaper. Those are really small. Some of them they're red and orange, those two. They're really small. The reason is because those are super hot. Super, super hot. So hot, I can't even eat one of those myself. I don't know too many people who can eat one of those. If you're one of those people that could eat a Carolina Reaper or a ghost pepper, let me know. Maybe we'll grow some and we'll send them to you. But I can't eat them, so therefore, I don't grow them. I only grow things that I'm going to eat. So right here, we've got our 4 peppers behind us, and let's continue looking at what else we can find in this garden. So if you look down here, I'm going to pull out a leaf for y'all to see, and let's see if you know what this leaf is. If you could smell it, I guarantee every single one of you would be able to know what this is. I smell it right now. I didn't even have to take it close to my nose, and I can already smell it. Do you know what this leaf is from? Do you know what this is? I'll give you a hint. It's an herb. It's a spice you use in your kitchen. You know what? It's a spice you use with pizza. It is a pizza spice. Okay. This is a piece of basil. A basil is amazing. It grows really fast, really fast. So the kids love it. They like to be able to watch it. And as it grows, you pick some off and it grows even bigger. This is a piece of basil. We planted it and we've already got a nice size little bush going over there. So I'm going to save this because today we're actually going to be picking a lot of basil, and we are going to be making another video of how we're going to make our own pasta sauce. So our tomatoes aren't ready in the back. They're not ready yet. But if they were ready, we might be able to use our own tomatoes to make our own pasta sauce. But right now, we're going to use our basil and our own oregano to make pasta sauce for our pizza night that's upcoming. And we are going to move on right now around. We're going to swing around to the other side of this raised garden bed, and we're going to see what other plants we have. But if you have not subscribed yet to my channel, please subscribe, and you'll see our upcoming videos, coming out with a bunch of videos. There's one video that I'm in the middle of making, and that is how to make your own compost bin You can do it in your backyard for free. All right, so subscribe and like and comment below. All right, so this one right here. Okay, I'm gonna bring those leaves up for you. You might not have ever seen these leaves before. When you go to the supermarket, when you go to the grocery store, and you pick out some fruits and vegetables, usually they don't have the leaves on there. However, sometimes you might see that they have the stem on them. Okay, so this, they'd call it a vine. Okay, they'd call it a vine. Now I'm going to show you some of the fruits, some of the vegetables that are growing on here. Can you see that? You know what those green things are? Nope, they're not grapes. Try again. Those green things are actually tomatoes. So all tomato plants, just like the pepper plants, all the tomato plants have the same leaves. They all have the same leaves. And we have a dried out one, so we're going to put that in our compost. And they all have the same leaves, but they might grow different tomatoes. So we have two of these. Right, we have a peg that tells us what it is. It's a sweet 100. So those are like little cherry tomatoes, or if you call them grape tomatoes, sort of like cherry tomatoes. And in the back, we have tomato. This is a Champion 2. So these are bigger tomatoes that we've got in the middle. And in the back, we have another sweet 100. So that's going to be another bunch of small ones. So right now, I just started to sprout out these little tomatoes, these tiny little tomatoes that just started sprouting this past week. And we've already got on this tree about 10 to 15 of them. So that's really exciting. Now, there's something really amazing. How many of you have ever opened up a tomato or got a tomato in your salad or something like that? In this little slimy thing, those seeds are actually a tomato plant waiting to grow. God has put into every single seed that you will find the smallest seeds, from a chia seed, a strawberry seed, a tomato seed. God has put in there all the DNA to grow a beautiful tomato plant and to get you a lot of tomatoes right from that seed. So the next time you're going to throw out some seeds, think about it. Think about, what can these seeds do? What can these seeds make? Just from one tiny little seed. As a great rabbi once said, Rabbi Victor Miller, he said, from one seed, you have more information in that just one little seed, in the outside seed of a strawberry. You have more information than every single book in the library. Wow, that is a lot of information for a tiny little seed. Yes, and there are hundreds, if not thousands of seeds in your tomatoes. So let's move on. We have some more things to show you in our next garden bed. So we have a surprise, actually. Before we leave this garden bed, I'd like to show you what we have growing down here. Can you see these things? Can you see that? Well, special for you guys today, I'm going to pull one out and show you. Can you guess what this is? You know what that is? Well, I figured you wouldn't know from the leaves. The leaves you might just think are regular weeds, but this is actually a radish. This is a radish we planted about 30 days ago. These radishes are called 18-day radishes, so they grow really fast. We planted a whole bunch of them here in the garden, and we're going to be picking them out today. It's about time that they get harvested. And so we picked that one out special for you guys. Okay, and we're going to turn around. We're going to go to this other garden bed. Now, one of the most common things that happen when we're trying to start a garden is that we might forget that our plants are alive. They're alive, they're breathing, they need sunlight, they need air, and of course, they need water. Without water, they can't grow. So you might flick on the switch to your hose, to the faucet, and it'll just keep on running. Now, when is it time to turn that water off? When is it time to say, you know what? I think my plant's got enough water for today. And what about if you're overwatering them? Overwatering can kill your plants. So just the other day, I went online and I bought myself a little meter. Okay, this meter doesn't require any batteries. This little meter right here can tell us 3 things about our plants, our soil actually. What it can tell us is the moisture, which is amazing, that this little thing without any batteries can tell us about the moisture that's going on in our soil. It can also tell us about the light. Now we want to know if we have enough light. So let's push that over to the light one and see. Wow. Okay, so you saw how that thing jumped all the way up. It's sunny out here. This is the most light that you would be getting for your plants. As you can see behind me, they're in direct sunlight. The tomato plants like a lot of sun. The basil like a lot of sun. All these plants like a lot of sun, 6 to 8 hours a day. So that's the light. You see that? It went shooting up. Let's see that again. I'm pushing it to the middle, to the light, and it flies up. The next one is the pH. That's to test the soil, to know if it's the right balance. If it's too acidic, it's not going to work. If it's too alkaline, it's not going to work. But the water one is the one that we want to see. So we're going to stick that right in here. Okay, we want to stick it as close to the roots as possible. And you can see that we got that just about nailed. You see how it's right there in the middle? Okay, we'll push it a little further down. Right there. We have put in just the right amount of water into our garden bed for our, this is our bell peppers, for our bell peppers to grow. So it's moist right now. You can see that it's moist. Turn it to sun. It's got all the sun it needs. And for alkaline and the pH, it's actually okay for a bell pepper. So we're rocking and rolling growing these bell peppers here. And that we'll just take that out. This is cheap, just a few dollars, and you can get yourself one. Another thing we have is a water gauge. Now I want to tell you something amazing about the rain. This is one of the most amazing things that I have seen while growing my garden is that this rain gauge can tell you how much rain there is. Okay, that's not very cool. Well, it is when it starts to be windy and the rain is all over the place and you say, well, I don't think any rain is going to get in my rain gauge. Well, guess what? It doesn't make a difference how windy it is. It will always measure for you exactly because every piece of raindrop, they're all the same size. Pretty much, they're all almost the same, and they all, if it's windy, they all blow together. So all that water is going to fall in there, and I'll be able to see exactly how much water falls in to know if I need to water my plants that day or not. So that's a really important thing. We picked that up in the dollar store, so really cheap, really convenient, and not much that we needed to invest to get it. Okay, so you can see here that we have some more radishes, and right behind the radishes, all right, we have this tomato vine that's growing in. But right behind the radishes, we have this little thing. It's really viney. It looks like it does need a little bit more water. So we're gonna get some more water right after this. This is actually are you gonna guess what it is? Can you guess what this thing is climbing up here? I'm gonna say you're gonna think, No way. Yes way. It is sweet peas. We are growing our very own sweet peas in our garden. And we can actually get a nice turnout from there. So we put these sticks in. The sticks will help it be able to climb up and get real high. And we've got one more thing in here that we haven't seen yet. And I told you we have things for pizza. This right here is Greek oregano. It smells delicious. You could smush it in between your fingers just to rub it around. Give it a smell, give it a sniff. It smells amazing. It's very easy to grow. Even if you were going to grow it in a pot, it grows real easy. It's really fun. It grows a lot. And you take it, you dry it out, you crunch it up, and you can save it, or you can make fresh. So right here behind me, we have this nice, bushy basil tree, basil bush. You can see that we have some little critters floating around here, and they're enjoying my basil as well as I'm going to enjoy it. But they're enjoying my basil. Just like I'm going to enjoy it, they're going to enjoy it. But hey, that's part of gardening. So our gardening is organic. We are not spraying any pesticides on there. What you could do is you could spray a little bit of soap, regular soap and oil, and a little bit of water. And that would be enough to keep away the bugs. But what's actually being eaten is a little bit of the plant, and I get to keep most of the plant. Those could be ladybugs. Now, ladybugs, you think are a pain in the neck, and the kids like to play with them. But the ladybugs actually eat the thrips, those tiny little green bugs that you might find on the underside of the leaves. If you look under a microscope, you might see thrips. The ladybugs actually eat those. So I look at this as it's a sacrifice that has to be made. I don't want to kill all the bugs because the thrips can be able to live through the soap. So that's why I'm happy to have Hashem's creatures as part of our garden bed. And sometimes we even get to catch them and we get to study them. So Hashem's creatures are beautiful, and there is so much to learn from them. Even the ants. The Talmud says that one thing we can learn from an ant is never give up, never stop trying. If any of you have ever gone and stepped on an anthill, now if you live in Texas, don't step on an anthill because a lot of the anthills are fire ants. These fire ants, they bite. They almost explode and start running up whatever it is that disturbed their nest or their mound and their anthill. So don't disturb a Texas anthill. No, that's a big no-no. However, if you ever stepped on an anthill, you'd see that the second you step on it, all the ants start scurrying around. What are they doing? The ants are actually going to be rebuilding their home, rebuilding their anthill. They don't give up. All right, so you knocked us down. We're going to get back up and we're going to build it again. So right here, we've got plants. And right now, you can't see, but we've got bugs in there as well, doing their thing, living their life. And we're going to live in harmony together with the bugs. Now, one last thing I'd like to tell you about when I built these garden beds. Maybe we'll make a video someday, how to build a garden bed yourself. But one last thing before we end for today. If you didn't subscribe yet, subscribe to the channel below. You can comment and click the like button. And one last thing is that we put, you see here, we've got like two, this one is a 2-layer. Underneath, we put a bunch of leaves. Now, what's happening deep down with those leaves is they're beginning to break down. Now, the process is going to take a longer time because there's not as much oxygen down there for them. So those leaves are going to break down and probably start creating heat just about when the springtime is over and it's going to start being the fall. Just when the summer is over and it's going to start being the fall. the leaves will start breaking down, creating heat. That heat is going to keep my plants alive in the cold nights. So you think that there's nothing to do with the leaves on your property? You can recycle those as well. You stick those leaves down underneath your plants, and you will actually be helping your plants live longer once the cold front comes in. That's all for today. If you liked today's video, click the like button, subscribe, tell your friends to join. We need 1,000 subscribers so that we can head to the park and see what animals we have there. I know that we have some deer over there that like to hang out. We could study them a little bit. There are some other birds, maybe some eagles we could find, some vultures. They're looking around for a snack. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you later. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining, and enjoy the channel.